Good morning, and happy Cinco de Mayo. It's May 5th. Got another little project here I've been putting off, and then it's getting to that point where I need to do this. As you may have been following along or hear me mention every once in a while, that the orange peel, it's got a 350 Chevy in it, and it's getting tired. Right now she's fouling out number 8 plug probably every other week. It's going through quite a bit of oil. I mean, when I threw that motor in that truck, and literally it was just thrown in because the 6.2 I had in there blew up. So it was one of those things, I had to get it going by Monday. Had a motor, threw it in. All I did was revalve cover it, intake, threw a water pump on it and a fuel pump, and then pretty much slammed it in the truck, and away we went. I can't complain. The truck's probably got, or at least that engine's probably got 20,000 miles on it now. And it's not been easy miles. I mean, it's either worked its butt off or screamed down the highway. So it's due. I'm sure it just needs a cam, and then I'll re-gasket it and probably re-ring it, but I can't really have the truck tied up in the process of doing that. So I have this engine here that came out of a 79 Chevy pickup that I bought 2 years ago now, I believe. Yeah, because it's been sitting in here for a good year and a half. Been meaning to tear it down, see what it looks like. I'm kind of hoping this one works, because then it'll be just basically a direct bolt-in. I do have a 85 motor that I know has low miles on it. The only problem is it's a one-piece rear crank seal. It was the first year of that. 85 or 86, I forget now. So it's still got the old-fashioned heads, but it's got a one-piece rear crank seal. It's kind of that Morphodite engine, which is fine, but then I gotta buy a flywheel, and I gotta buy all that. Probably a new clutch then. And I'm trying to do this on a budget. Hopefully I can just get away with, a hone, re-ring, bearings, re-gasket it, and then, put a good cam in it and run it for another 20,000 miles, and if it blows up, oh well, I got my money's worth then. So I'm going to tear this one down today. So I'll bring you guys back when something neat happens, but it's just a small block Chevy, so it ain't like it's that fun to see taken apart. Ain't like a Cadillac, which I still have over here. It's still soaking. Probably sometime this afternoon I'll flip it over and let it soak from the other side. Scrape more of the rust out, and then fill a cylinder up with PB Blaster and just let it sit for a while. I got the transmission up here and the tear down bench, so I get that blown apart yet sometime either today or tomorrow. Buick, yep, still sitting here. But it's a gorgeous day today, so it's going to be tough staying in the shop today. We'll see. It's already probably about 58 degrees, almost 60 degrees, and it's just, I got to take my sweatshirt off here pretty quick. It's getting too hot. So back at it. Alright, after spending a good 30 minutes trying to dig out the center bolts, because anybody who's lived in the Midwest knows that those things rot in there, and they were rotting in there pretty good. Got them out, so now to pry off the intake manifold. Of course it's cast iron, so it's going to weigh 900 pounds. Alrighty, got it off. This is a big chunk of scrap iron, so we're not keeping that. And surprisingly enough, it's nice and clean in here. Needs a timing chain, but not bad. So we'll get the rest of this yanked apart. Uh-oh. Not going to pull the head bolts out. I probably would, but I'm going to sit there for an hour on each one. So we'll get the old air-powered impact out and make a lot of noise. A lot quicker. Alrighty. And a little side note to you guys that maybe never done this before who are watching this. Don't take all the head bolts out like I'm doing. I have had heads where from the factory they didn't put the guide studs in. And you take all the bolts out and the head will hit the floor. So I always wear steel toe shoes, but usually I'm pretty careful about this, but I'm assuming this one ain't gonna fall off. Then I got the push rod still in there, so I'll catch it too, but it's not really a wise thing to do. Usually you leave one bolt loose, crack the head loose, and then take that bolt out. I'm just being, you know, not very safe. So, I'll pry the head off. Well, somebody's been in here. It's got Phil Pro head gaskets on it. That's not factory. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Right, right. No, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like the Cadillac motor at least, so that's good. But I did drive this motor in, or this truck in, before I took the motor out. So I know it was a runner. I don't know the history of it. Yeah, she's got a ridge in there, but not too bad. About typical for this vintage. I'm not seeing any major scoring. Well, that's good. Alrighty. Well, flip it over and pop the pan off.